entirely. Sorry about that. But you do have a romanticism about being monogamous with one woman in the white picket fence.
Hell yeah.
So is it that you just haven't met the right person? Because it seems like if you would meet the right person, a wall, with me personally, like a wall comes down and they just lock that wall to the floor. Like there's just not, I don't even know what chicks look like. I swear to God.
Wow.
Like I'll look at my wife and I'll go, Alec Baldwin kind of heavy. He's way hotter than young, skinny Alec Baldwin, right? And she goes, yeah. And she'll be like, isn't, that girl was really pretty. I'm like, I don't know.
I would do that out of respect, like, because the wife will test you. You're watching a show or a commercial comes on and somebody's like, what's up with this girl? She's just like the girl in the moment right now. She's pretty hot. And I'm like, I don't see it. And I'm just sitting there going, God, she's the hottest thing ever. She's hotter than you. And you can't say that, But do you think you said you're polyamorous. Yeah.
Do you think you're just polyamorous because the women you married weren't the right women to marry? I'm not saying you made a mistake.
I don't think I was the right guy for them to marry. I'll put it on me. But Brooke was different. Brooke liked girls, and hope I'm not outing her here, but claimed to like girls and said that could be a part of our marriage. It never was, but and one thing I never did during the marriage was cheat, believe it or not.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, ever.
You never cheated when you were married?
Once, ever, no, ever.
But I think that's
kind of noble.
Yeah, I mean, I think and that's a really cool thing to say on the podcast. I mean,
it's true.
A breaking news thing. Charlie Sheen never cheated when he was married to anybody.
Never once. Although Donna did find the scrunchie in the shower. To this day, I don't know where it came from.
Jennifer Grey.
To this day, I don't know where it came from.
It was Jennifer Grey's scrunchie, bro.
Wow, but she had such short hair. Why would you need one?
I don't know what you did with the scrunchie.
Your Honor, we're going to go to a recess. No, I mean, I wish I could talk to Donna again. I haven't spoken to her in years and years, but I'm still friends with Denise and Brooke, and I'm trying to get all the kids in the neighborhood right now, and I have another house up the street I want to move Denise and the girls into.
Really?
Yeah, I just put it in their name, actually. So the only people that can throw Denise out are the girls.
That's pretty funny.
They own the house. Boom, here.
Your daughter's on the house.
Yeah. And I put this house in the boys' name.
Really?
They can throw me out.
I gotta talk to those boys.
As long as I don't learn the two words throw and out and put them together, I'm fine, right?
Daddy, out. So you do pine for that life? Yeah,
man. Hell yeah. But I have this lovely image of harmony, of just like the door opens, there's a knock on the door, and it's just the girls. Here, Dad, we brought you breakfast.
But then there's also lovely harmony where the other kind of girls come in.
Oh, yeah.
And that's like you've created your own sanctuary. Like, you fill the house with what you want.
Sure.
And there, according to the press, there's like the blonde room, the brunette room.
Let's walk around the house right now and find those rooms.
I'm just saying,
it's crazy, isn't that? No, yeah.
Yeah.
What you also don't see in my house a lot of, I mean, only because we're at the table and I got to sign a bunch of crap. You don't see a lot of my work reminders. You don't, do you?
No, I don't.
Anywhere.
There's a lot of weird busts.
Right?
That kind of scare me, like a Shatner mask in the corner when you come in. It's probably not a Shatner mask.
Oh, a little one.
Yeah.
It's from Halloween.
It really is?
Yes, hell yeah.
I saw that shit from far away.
It was a giveaway at a fundraiser I was at, and I got there late and there were none left, and I said, I must have one of those. And they sent it to me the next day. The little the Halloween mask is the Shatner mask inside out, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the greatest freaking horror film ever made.
It's pretty tight.
It's more of a thriller than a horror film.
What? Oh, so who are your favorite actors?
Right now. Well,
you could say Pacino if that really is the guy that you hang your hat on.
The guy that started everything, but the guy I really think there's him, and then there's the rest of us. No disrespect, is Sean Penn.
Yeah, because I'm way up there.
I'm just saying, man, you've done some brilliant work in your day, bro. You should have been nominated or at least won for McGuire.
That was my first movie.
See, that's not fair. You cannot show up and be that good in your first movie.
It's all downhill after that.
No.
If I did Jerry Maguire now, I would have had much more heat after
Interesting.
Because it's the first thing you go, oh, who's this guy? But like now the guy with the podcast and the comic, and we know him from all this stuff. If I did it now, it'd be an entirely different thing.
It would be a good thing, you're saying.
A great thing. Yeah. A much different, holy shit, look who's arrived. As opposed to, it was, you know what it was? It was immediately in my rearview mirror.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
I get that. Yeah.
Like the moment it came out, it was that guy that did that thing.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Pacino is the guy, and Sean is great.
I think, people say, well, no, Daniel Day's better than Sean. I'm like, well, maybe, but Daniel Day can't do Fast Times and then direct Into the Wild and then do Dead Men Walking. He'd do them differently.
It is pretty. I don't think he gets enough credit. I mean, obviously, we all know he's great. I love Sean Penn movies. Like, Bad Boys. Like, everybody knows Bad Boys is Will Smith and fucking Martin Lawrence. And Bad Boys with him and S.A. Morales is the best. How do you have movies?
Ali Sheedy.
Yeah.
And who's the counselor in the movie is he
does voices on like SpongeBob. Oh no, not the counselor. That was Edward James Olmos.
Yes,
no.
it was. Yeah,
Is it?
Yeah. He's excellent. Yeah.
And Clancy Brown?
Yes, he's excellent. He plays the Viking.
The Viking,
yeah.
Wow. Finally, when S.A. Morales and Sean Penn. I don't know how you can have another movie named Bad Boys come out.
How about Sean's on the cover of Rolling Stone and just says Bad Boy, Sean Penn. And he's just sitting there with his chin on his hands. That was for Bad Boys.
You guys were in like the Malibu Mafia.
Malibu Mafia, yeah, totally. Sean's the greatest. Chris was my best friend growing up. That sucked when he died, Your Chris Penn impersonation was so creepy, dude. It was like I was back in the room with him.
Someone tweeted me, when you play drunk in episode 2 of Action, you're just doing an Adam Sandler impression, aren't you? And I wrote back, I rarely answer tweets, and I go, no, actually, I'm doing Chris Penn. Because when you can't play drunk, it's bad.
Yeah.
There's you either do it perfect,
or you're too far,
or you're a fool.
And my dad says, never get drunk to play drunk, because then you can't make any choices.
Oh yeah.
Pretty smart, right?
I never even thought to get drunk to play drunk.
Yeah.
But I did go on an audition, Super Baked, once. PCU, remember that college movie? I think Jeremy Piven played the stoner.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I went to that audition high as balls. Right. Like, I was so high, I didn't realize that breathing was an involuntary muscle. Like, I had to remind, breathe in, stupid. And I swear to God, the director, I don't remember who it was, said to me, if you could just act a little more high. Wow. And I go, all right. So I'm like, hey, bro, hamming it up. And he goes, it's good. I'm just not buying that and I didn't want to tell the guy, I did 8 bong hits. I'm a giraffe's ass right now. I'm like Doc Ellis throwing a no-hitter high.
Wow.
I'm high as a Georgia pine.
Love it.
So, yeah, when I play drunk, my go-to is I just imitate Chris Penn.
Was Action, there's a guy I met with when I was trying to create a show. I think it was between Spin and 2.5. A guy named Chris something.
Chris Thompson.
Yeah, man. He was your guy, right?
He was our guy until he got out of the boat.
I'm sorry. He was kind of a genius for a while, wasn't he? He still is.
He created some great shows, and then he was
in the middle of Action when we met him, by the way.
He left Action kind of like when, you go off the reservation once in a while, people that you use kind of disappear for a while. And then Don Rio.
One of my favorite people.
Really?
Favorite people, yeah.
One of mine too.
Yeah, we tried to develop a show with Gladys Knight. It was all in the family.
What the fuck are you talking about?
It was all in the family with a woman, and it was her.
Gladys Knight.
Yes.
The best.
It's awesome. Nobody would buy it. Nobody.
Why?
And then Don was hired on 2.5, my last season there. Don was on our staff.
For those of you listening, Don Rio, when you think of the Dos Equis guy, the coolest guy in the world.
It's Don Rio.
It's the guy that the Dos Equis guy would go, if only I was more like him.
Yeah.
Don Rio wrote do you know this whole thing about Sanford and Son? How he came up with all that? I think he wrote the first 8 episodes of Sanford and Son.
One of my favorite shows ever.
Oh yeah, you big dummy.
Not in good times.
But James. Don Rio was watching Slappy White on The Tonight Show when it was in New York. He was eating it. Bombing. Slappy White was bombing. And he was in Providence, Rhode Island at his parents' furniture store. And they go, Slappy White will be at the, whatever, comedy venue in Providence, Rhode Island. And Don Rio stayed up that night with a notebook. He was 18 years old, and he wrote Slappy White jokes.
Wow.
Snuck into the venue, handed Slappy White in his dressing room a notebook of jokes, wearing a suit, from his prom and shit.
Right.
This is all legit, right?
I love it.
And I'll tell you how legit it is with Don's thing that he says at the end. And so Slappy White goes through all the jokes, and people are coming in, and he's in there for a way uncomfortable period of time. And then Slappy White goes, boy, can you read? And he goes, excuse me? He goes, motherfucker, can you read? And he goes, yeah, I can read. He goes, all right. I'm playing the Apollo tomorrow night. You're going to be my straight man. You just stick to the cue cards. We'll be cool. I'll pick you up here in the parking lot at noon tomorrow. That next night, he's on stage at the Apollo in the same suit. And there's a giant photo in Don Rio's office of him and Slappy White reading the cue cards for his own jokes.
Wow.
And he went on the Chitlin circuit.
Did he kill with Don's material?
Yeah, it was all how would you run for president in the South? I would campaign at night on top of the trees. All ridiculous great shit.
Humor you can't do today.
humor that all like Jewish guys were trying to write, like, you know, you jive turkey, and Don was the guy that was like, now look at these uppity niggers in this side of the funeral. Wow. Like Don was writing Sanford and Son.
Damn.
And then he went on the Chitlin circuit with like Red Fox and like Mom's Mabley.
Wow.
And those guys would go out till like 2 the next day. And Don would have to tap out like at 5 a.m. So he'd go back to his like
2 p.m. You're talking.
Yeah. And Don would tap out like at 4 or 5 a.m. and he'd go to like the colored, you know, whites only and blacks in the segregated South. And he had the pilot for Sanford and Son, and he just kept writing other versions of it.
Wow.
So when Red Fox went to the network, he goes, "Blood, I got this Don Rio motherfucker to write the show." And that's Don was in.
Wow.
And I told him, I don't believe that. And he goes, "I didn't see White Pussy till I was 26. Oh, and that's the sentence where you go, nobody would say that.
You can't.
Unless they were legit.
No, you can't. You can't just make that up. No.
And then he wrote for Blossom.
Ted Was.
Yeah, Ted Waz was the father of Blossom.
Your director on Gary.
Don Rio.
No, your pilot director. But,
Don Rio created Blossom. And I once said to him, how do you go from writing like fucking MASH, Action, The Honeymooners Return, Sanford and Son to Blossom? And he goes, let me tell you something. I have a house in Hana. Go fuck yourself.
Wow. Boom. Check, please. Yeah, good for him. I love Don Rio. Somehow he's still stuck over there with those other miscreants.
Well, let's get him up and running.
Yeah.
Who came to you with anger management? Who approached you? Because I think you have to have balls to approach Charlie Sheen.
John Feldheimer and Joe Roth. Feldheimer runs Lionsgate, and Roth runs Revolution. They said, Joe said, look, I did this movie, but we're only talking about the title. How do you feel about this as a TV show? And I started thinking, and I went,
but where do you see them where this conversation happens?
They called me in for a meeting at Lionsgate.
And now at that point, are you using the shenanigans that went on with 2.5 Men as like, because I don't think you're a guy that really would give a shit about like, I don't want to do a show on FX.
No, I just want to do a good show. And if you put a good show on, people will find it. You know?
So the Head of the Snake was legit, and you went, all right, I'll hear what the Head of the Snake has to say.
Hell yeah.
And you really liked it.
I liked it a lot. And then they said, all right, let's meet showrunners. And the first guy I met on Skype, because he doesn't fly, he was in New York, was Bruce Helford. And
Helford's great. Helford did one of my wife's show. I think he did.
Yes, he did.
Nikki.
He loves your wife. And he's just the best guy. He's the smartest guy. He's just so freaking cool, man. It's so bitchy.
Oh, that's right. You and my wife were talking about his weird show night jacket.
That magic windbreaker, man.
Members only, and he's the last member.
He's the last member. I love it. No, he's a special cat, man. He's a special cat.
Do you watch 2.5 Men with Ashton Kucher?
I actually had a party here. It was pretty funny. Jeff Rosser actually wrote about it that night. Do you remember?
No.
Because the 2.5 premiere with Ashton and my roast were on the same night. So we had a party here with all the roasties and the writers and thing all here, and then we watched 2.5, then the roast, you know. The roast, we had a really good time watching. 2.5, we're all just kind of tolerating it a little bit, you know. I thought, though, the moment of Ashton's reveal was one of the best TV moments ever. When the urn, my ashes get thrown in the air, and then you reveal this guy naked on the porch behind the window. It should have said to be continued, and that'd been the last moment of that episode. And then people were like, what's going on? Instead, they gave away the whole freaking house and the whole farm, and there were more like his dick's bigger than you jokes in like, 11 minutes and never been on television. And I'm sitting there watching going, really, guys? Come on. Ashton was pretty good in those first few, but I think the writing got so just kind of inverted or just black holed, that he didn't have much to work with, man.
How do you not invert writing-wise unless you just have a complete turnover of a staff? When a show goes that long, it seems like you're going to run into that wall, like that rookie wall.
They ran into it with me.
Really?
Yeah. And then had me like going to Vegas to get eye tuck surgery, but have a dream that I really got boobs. And then my mom's there. And just, guys, really? There's a shark in the water somewhere. I see the ramp I got to hit with these skis. Really, guys?
You turn to Potsy and you say, I'll do this for you.
I love it. But the show went on.
He was just on the podcast, and he explained the whole thing.
Oh, he did?
But
is that Anson?
No, Henry Winkler.
Oh.
And he said, I don't understand why it's synonymous with failure, because we went 5 years after that.
I was just going to say, with that handsome blonde guy.
Ted McGinley.
Thank you. Yeah, good dude.
He hasn't aged.
At all. He did Hope and Faith, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I know he was, married with children, replaced. Just all of a sudden she had a new husband and they never talked about it.
Wow. That show created a network, by the way.
Sure did.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Maybe it did create a network. You know what else is good to create? Your own post office. There's too many what ifs when you go to the post office. What if there's traffic? You can't find parking? What if it's closed when you get there? Avoid the hassle. Use Stamps.com. With Stamps.com, anything you can do at the post office, you can now do from the convenience of your own desk. Stamps.com really is the married with children of postage. Buy and print official U.S. postage using your own computer and printer whenever you need it, 24/7. Unlike the post office, Stamps.com never closes. Charlie Sheen never closes. Right now, use my last name, Mohr, M-O-H-R, for this special offer. No risk trial plus $110 bonus offer. That includes a digital scale to weigh your letters and packages. And up to, we're all trying not to giggle because we're weighing things on scales in our minds. And up to $55 free postage. Don't wait. Go to Stamps.com before you do anything else. Click on the radio microphone at the top